So was there any very violent conflicts that you were experienced or faced? What was probably one of the two, if any, that you experienced? Andrew too, you can jump in here, mate, if
I don't know. Do we keep this PG rated?
I just go for it, straight shoot.
Look, I'll tell you a story about my first weekend. So, they keep you when you first get arrested. You go to Surrey Hills or a police holding cell. Then they took me to Parkley. So, Andrew, you went to Silverwater, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Silverwater was full. Normally they send you to a place called Darcy. It is hell on earth. So I've heard, but I missed Darcy and I went straight to Parkley. So Parkley, they keep you in a detox wing, and then they put you into like this like a wing full of just new people coming in off the street. Then they send you out into the main. So the main was like area 1. That's the non-working wing. So there was no Asians there. You know how like I said, like they all the races like kind of like help support and help each other. There was no Asians in that unit. They were all in the working unit, which was area 2. And prison politics, the dominating race would take over the phones. So there was 2 phones in the yard. One phone was only occupied by the Middle Easterns. And the other phone was occupied by the Kuris, which is the indigenous. So if you were any other race, you can't use the phone. And when you first go to a unit, you want to call your friends and family to let them know what's happening. You want to call your legal representatives to find out what's happening at court. You need to use the phone, but I couldn't get onto the phone, any of them. And there was this one time where there was an opportunity. So the indigenous guys, there was a period of time when no one was using it. I was like, sweet, this is my moment. So I ran for it. I made a call to my lawyers. The next thing I know, I get my shirt put over my head, and someone starts laying into me, go, you can't use this phone kind of thing. And I'm a taekwondo background, and I not knowingly I did a roundhouse kick. I got him square in the jaw, and he dropped, right? And I was like, I didn't mean to do that kind of thing, and literally everyone started running down. And during lunchtime, they call muster. So they lock you in for 1 hour during lunch, and they hand them, not like what you see in America, where there's like a chow hall. We have to eat our lunch and dinner in our cell. So they hand you these like ready-made packs that gets put into an oven and you eat it. So they lock you in for an hour. So during that hour, I got locked in. There was a mob attack going, like brewing up. So the whole unit was screaming at the windows, going, calling out my name, going, "You're fucking dead when you come out. We're gonna kill you." Everyone was banging on the doors, and I was shitting myself. That was like my first day in jail, like in the main, right? And then my cellie didn't help me either. My cellie's like, "Look, you're probably gonna get stabbed. So we're going to wrap newspapers and magazines around your body so it lessens the impact of the shank going into your body." And I'm going, oh my God, people are going to stab me?
Well,
remember, this is my first day.
Been laughing about it then though.
Yeah, I know. I was shitting myself. And then the sweeper comes around. So the sweeper is when you get locked in, they go and clean all the units. They empty out the bins, and they're the ones that hand out all the meals and all that kind of stuff. But they're let out in the wing, so they can do whatever in the wing to just clean up. So the sweeper knocks on my door, and he goes, "There's a present from the Asian boys from next door," and he hands me a newspaper underneath the door. Then I open the newspaper, and I shit you not, shank is an understatement. It was a samurai sword. It was like a shank like that big. If I stab someone with this, someone will die, right? So here I am now about to get mob attacked and get like mob shanked. And now the only thing that I could defend myself with is a samurai sword. And I'm thinking in my head, I'm in for drug charges, but I'm about to get murder charges soon. Right? And that was a dilemma that I was in. And I literally I went pale and got, oh my God. And officers started coming out to unlock the doors, to let us go, right? And this Pippa, so the two star, he's the sergeant. He came out and he goes, "Kwon, pack your bags. You're going next door." And I was like, what the hell's going on? I was like, I just grabbed all my stuff. I had a samurai sword down my pants. I had newspapers wrapped all around me, magazines and newspaper wrapped all around me. I'm thinking, what's going on? Everyone's staring at me right now, and I'm getting moved to the next door. And I found out later that the Asian delegate heard what happened, and then he's gone, get this guy and move him into a unit right now before bloodbath happens, because there was a bit of a conflict between the indigenous and the Asians at that time. So that's why, hence, I got laid into straight away. So I did not know that, and
Wow.
this guy saved me. This guy
Yeah.
said, who knows? I could have been in a vegetable state right now, or could have been dead. Who knows? So that was my first day in jail, and I did 9 years.
Uh,
Yeah.
oh man, that's like that's a proper baptism of fire. That's fucked.
It really got me worried. I'm going, oh my God, like this is jail? Crap. But you know what? It gets better. I think while you're in remand, that's where all the problems happen, because people are in an unsettled mindset. What's happened, like with family, their mind is still outside. Once most people, when they get sentenced, it's like, right, at least I know how long I'm gonna do it. People settle down and they just focus on, okay, what can I do while I'm in here just to better my time. But during that remand stage, like there's a lot of uncertainty. It's a terrible place to be in, actually. Yeah.
Andrew, what about you, mate? I know you kept a lot. You kept to yourself a lot, but is there anything, any violence?
Yeah, you know, there was a couple of things I remember with, I'd say it had a lot to do with my character development. Now that I look back, they're like pivotal moments in my life. Like, so like my first 2 years, I kind of kept to myself, played cards, didn't do much. So I didn't get involved in any drama. I wasn't involved in any drugs. I was just kind of like lost and depressed, So I just minded my own business half the time. And then after I got sentenced and I started training, I remember at Oberon, I can't remember exactly why this kicked off, but there was about to be a war between the Aussies and the Asians. And I remember watching, looking outside the unit, and there's like 50 Aussies coming up to the unit. Luckily in jail, when you're Asian, there's this thing where you have your allies with the Islanders for some reason. I don't know why. It's been going on like that for years. And even in America, it's like two peas in a pod. The Asians and the Islanders stick together for some reason. We were just so lucky that we had the Islanders to back us up, and they're big boys. They're genuinely big boys. I don't think the Aussies wanted to fight them. And anyways, the drama at that time, I wanted to fight because I was training really hard, and I had like this massive ego about me because I knew I was fitter than everyone. Luckily, we didn't go to war because I probably would have got bashed, because it was 50. Like honestly, that was like 50 to 20, like 50 against 20. They ended up sorting it out one-on-one between the Asian bloke and the Aussie bloke. And then fast forward, like I was still training hard. And I remember just before I got out, this one experience really humbled me, because I actually learned that like no matter how hard you train, size actually matters. So I remember I was training really hard and I had my music, and I was like, this was like a point in my life where I was like, I had a big ego on me, and I was just training really hard, and I kept to myself a lot, because at the end of your sentence, when you're in minimum security, you get mixed in, like if you come from the main population, you get mixed in with population from protection, and you don't know who's who. So I kept to myself a lot, and I didn't speak to many people because I was like, I'm not sure who's a snitch, who's a pedophile, who's a rapist. I don't know who's who. So I don't want to make friends with anyone, just in case I'm like, when you develop a bond with someone, then you find out, oh, fuck, this person's a piece of shit. Well, how do you kind of break that bond after finding out they're a piece of shit, like after you've developed the bond? So just to not cross that bridge, I decided just to keep to myself and only to the boys that I knew from the main. Anyways, so I was kind of like standoffish with a lot of people. And I always trained to myself. And this one time I had my music playing kind of loud, and I was training, and this one guy turns off my music. And this guy, mind you, he's like 2 meters tall. Okay, he's a big bloke. He's about 110 kilos. And I thought I could take this bloke. I'm only 70 kilos. I'm 165 centimeters tall. We had an exchange of words. We went to the kitchen. I did not land a single punch on him. And he literally like whacked me. Every time I stepped in, he whacked me. And my left ear was deaf for a good week. And after that experience, it really humbled me. Maybe I can't fight everyone. Maybe I can't actually like go people, and maybe I shouldn't walk around the yard like I'm the biggest bloke.
Yeah.
And it still didn't stop me from like not talking to people. I still kept to like only the people that I knew. But that really taught me a lesson. Okay, cool. Maybe I have to go through life actually learning how to fight, and maybe I should not be so treat everyone like shit, or like just like not talk to people. At least like if someone said hello to me, say hi to them back.
Yeah.
You know, because a lot of the times people would say hello to me and I wouldn't even talk to them because I just didn't want to make anyone. And I guess he disliked me because of that. Mind you, I heard this guy on a podcast recently. I don't know if he was actually, because I heard he was a dog before. I don't actually know if he was a dog, and a dog is like someone who snitched.
Yeah.
You know, and you kind of like keep your distance with those people.
Yeah.
Anyways, I heard he was a snitch, and I that's why I didn't want to talk to him.
Yeah.
And I recently heard this guy speak on a podcast recently. I can't remember whose podcast it was. And I'm like, oh, that's the guy who fucking I last had a crack with. Mind you, like I got nothing against the bloke. I just thought he was a dog, and I don't know to this day if he was an actual dog or not. But I guess that kind of taught me, like, one, don't think you can take everyone unless you're like, because size does matter. And two, just if someone says hello, don't be like, just say hello back. You don't like, it doesn't have to go any further than that. It's just being polite.
Yeah.
And I realized that later on too. Yeah.
Do you think in prison, because you're sizing everyone up, you probably overthink everything too? Like you're looking at people thinking, you know, is that come into things a bit? Like you're always second guessing yourself or who you can trust.
I knew how much fitter I was compared to everyone else, because I knew, like, I looked in the yard, no one was training as hard as me. Right. Maybe one other person. Like I would be like up early training, and I'll be the last one to be training too. And I'd go like I knew the amount of burpees, push-ups, and all of that I was doing. But realistically, that doesn't translate that well into an actual fight.
Yeah. Like
actual fighting skill and movement and like technique does play a massive role too.